Hello everyone. Today let's narrate a story from Exodus chapter 3. This is a significant passage in the Bible, one that plays a pivotal role in the story of Israelites. So in the previous chapters we have seen Moses' birth and how Moses was raised in Egypt and how did he fled from Egypt. This chapter talks about the burning bush, how did God spoke to Moses, and why did Moses was reluctant in the beginning, and about the promised land. So initially we all know Moses is a shepherd. So Moses took his flock to graze in the forest near Mount Horeb. There he sees a burning bush, a bush that is on fire, however it is not consumed by flames. Moses was curious to see what it was, so he went close to watch over it. As Moses went and stood just before the burning bush, God spoke to him from the bush and identifies himself as God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. These are Moses' ancestors, as we know. So God expresses his concern for the suffering of Israelites in Egypt. In the previous chapter, we have also seen that Israelites were oppressed by the new Pharaoh because he thought they were in growing numbers and they might support Pharaoh's enemy if at all there is a war. So what Pharaoh does is to put them in slavery and oppress them. So now here God speaking to Moses, God says he chose Moses to lead the Israelites to a promised land that is full of milk and honey. When we talk about milk and honey here, this is just a reference. What God meant probably was a fulfilled land with everything in them to rise. Initially, Moses was reluctant about God's call. He was hesitant. He was majorly hesitant about expressing God's name. I mean, if he has to go to someone and tell them that God spoke to me, he was unaware or he was doubtful that they would believe him or not. So God reassures Moses that he will be with him and provide his divine name, which is often rendered as I am who I am. So until here, whatever it was done. So God spoke to Moses. Moses was in fear. Moses was doubtful. So we are seeing the inner picture so far. Now what God also knows that Moses was in doubt. So God assures him that he is giving his name, he will show his name, and he also tells him that he will be with him and he will do some wonders that convince the people of Israel. Also, he mentions some instructions on to what to do and how to approach Pharaoh and things like that. And he also assured that Israelites will not leave empty-handed from Egypt. So until here, what God does is, he spoke to Moses. He told Moses that you have been chosen and I have chosen you to help Israelites come out of the slavery. And now he is giving him directions to follow so that he will be successful in his endeavor. The whole idea was to release all the Israelites from Egypt's oppression and slavery. So now God iterates his promise once again. There are Canaanites, there are Hittites, there are Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. These are the various tribes of Israelites that are suffering in Egypt. And with this, chapter 3 marks the beginning of Moses' journey as a leader of the Israelites and the start of their liberation from Egyptian slavery. This encounter with the burning bush and God's call sets the stage for subsequent events, including the 10 plagues, the Passover, and the Exodus itself. These are chronicled in the subsequent chapters. The chapter is a significant moment in the Bible's narrative of God's covenant with the Israelites and His intervention on their behalf. God certainly telling that they are my people and I will be saving them. Thank you for listening. May God bless you all in abundance.